Alright, this was something interesting I got in my suggestion box. And, yeah, this is just fucking weird. Have you ever heard of the 12th Arcs group? No? Well, I don't blame you, I hadn't until this video. So, I just finished watching the first 9 out of 10 episodes of The Tale of Blue, although originally just called Spongebob Animated Series. This one is really weird. So this is, I guess a fan Spongebob spin-off sort of series, except it really isn't. And I'll explain why, because if you watch episode 1 came out literally about, as you can see, 2 years before the second episode. And there's a massive difference in its animation quality. I won't be playing the episodes, just because, I don't want to get copyrighted. I doubt they would, but just in case. And B, really, to be honest, if you're at all curious about this, I would recommend just going off and checking it out for yourself. But episode 1, feels like it's just going to be, it's like a SpongeBob fan series. The Krabby Patty special spice or whatever, it has run out, and SpongeBob and Patrick must journey to the city of horror to go and find it. And to be honest, the first episode, very much feels like a SpongeBob spin-off. I mean, you have all SpongeBob and Patrick who don't actually speak technically in episode 1. It's all narrated by a guy who sounds like he has lung cancer. Seriously, it sounds like he's struggling to breathe. And the animation is a bit dodgy, but to be honest, episode 1, that feels, like it could be a SpongeBob episode or a spin-off or its own fan series. But then from sort of episode 2, but mainly episode 3, episode 2, it no longer has the word SpongeBob in it. And this is also the last thumbnail to actually have SpongeBob and Patrick in the actual thumbnail, because the series is then renamed The Tale of Blue. And this is where things completely change. And it's pretty obvious in that 2-year gap between the first episode and the second episode, it's clear to me, I mean, the animation from episode 2 onwards is actually pretty good. It's actually not bad, to be honest. It's not television quality, but, it's better than, a lot of stuff you'll see out there. It's actually really good. The voice acting is not great in any of them. The voice acting isn't great in any of them, and for some reason they got a woman to voice SpongeBob, which sounds really odd, to be honest. The guy voicing Patrick does a decent enough job, but SpongeBob just sounds really, really odd. But episode 2 really is the last episode where SpongeBob and Patrick are the main characters, because from episode 3 and episode 4, basically the series completely changes and becomes all about this dolphin named Blue, which you can see first on the right here at the top, wearing the bandana. And it's just really weird that that's where the series goes through, to be honest. And in fact, SpongeBob and Patrick don't appear at all in episodes 4, 7, 8, and 9. Yeah, to be honest, SpongeBob and Patrick are absent for over half the season. In fact, to be honest, episode 5, I think, it's either episode 5 or episode 6. I could be lying, but one of those 2 episodes is actually their final appearance. unless they're in the final episode, which is yet to come out. But yeah, it's. I mean, to be honest, it's an interesting series. It's basically about some sharks trying to take over a city, and they hate dolphins, and the dolphins are trying to fight back, and they're led by this dolphin named Blue. Yeah, that's a completely different plot from SpongeBob and Patrick journeying to the City of Horror, which isn't even called the City of Horror, it's called the City of Beyond in this. So, yeah, it just completely changes. Because literally in episode 2, we find out the sharks are selling, new spices which apparently kill people, and all other businesses are struggling to stay afloat. But then that plot is completely forgotten about, literally completely forgotten about by the next episode. It's just a bit. I mean, to be honest, it is enjoyable enough, but this series, it clearly wants to be something else. It wants to be the tale about these dolphins and the sharks, fighting each other, trying to take back the city from the sharks. It clearly wants to be that, and then it just kind of chucks in SpongeBob and Patrick because it realizes, oh yeah, that's the thing. Like it literally, SpongeBob and Patrick have nothing to do in this. They do not affect the plot at all. It basically, they're kind of there because that's what the series started out as in its pilot episode. And in fact, Blue, the new main character, doesn't actually appear until episode 4, which is called The Plot. Yeah, it's clear that the series was one thing, then went to another. So if you are expecting a spin-off, a sort of spin-off or a SpongeBob Fang series, yeah, that's what I thought I was expecting. I thought it was going to be like, from the trailers and that, you think it's going to be a darker SpongeBob Fang series. It's not. It is darker than SpongeBob, but it's not a SpongeBob Fang series. For example, in episode 1 and the first section of episode 2, they actually, have actually fish people from the show and designs that look like they came from the show. But then, from the second half of episode 2 onwards, they go in a completely different art style, which doesn't fit in with SpongeBob whatsoever. So it's literally, it feels like it's someone, at some point had an idea for an original series that sort of spawned from this SpongeBob, animated series idea, and they just kind of didn't, just kind of shoved SpongeBob and Patrick into it, except the other way around. Because it's just really weird. It's really odd, to be honest. It is just a really odd thing to be watching. I mean, the quality of it is pretty decent, and as I said, the only thing about it is that the problem with it is it's actually hindered by the fact is it's trying to be two different things, and clearly it wants to be the Teal of Blue. That's what it wants to be, clearly, because that's what's getting the main focus. I mean, the main character Blue even has a bloody Thor hammer sort of thing. It's not called that, but it has the same abilities as it. So, yeah, it's a weird series. But if you do decide to watch it, you'll think it's one thing by watching the first episode and maybe the second episode, but by the third episode and fourth episode, it just goes completely different. And it just feels like SpongeBob and Patrick are literally just thrown into it. In fact, They give SpongeBob a love interest, a female sponge, and she is last seen. And literally, they are last seen looking at a tunnel where Blue and co, spoiler alert, escape from a fire. And I can't remember, I think that's in episode 5, it might be in episode 6. And that is the last we see of them. Unless they're probably going to be in the finale, because they kind of have to be, otherwise, literally, they're forgotten about. But they're not even mentioned either. They're mentioned in episode... SpongeBob is mentioned twice in episode 4. But then any appearances subsequent to that is just gone. It's just a weird thing. I think, really, if they decide, it should have been one or the other. Because the two just do not fit together at all. I mean, you've got the SpongeBob and Patrick, who clearly do not fit in with this world, and they almost adjust the characters slightly to try and fit in, and then at other times they're being their usual goofy selves. And it just doesn't really fit in with this. This just doesn't work. In fact, there's stuff in episode 1 that never gets explained, and I think they've probably forgot about it, because in episode 1, there's a mysterious call to someone, and the two laughing, yodeling guys from the SpongeBob movie, the guys who get their mouths ripped off at the gas station, they're trying to they're told to basically put SpongeBob and Patrick on the wrong trail, but none of that ever gets brung up again. There's a character in the first episode who points them in the right direction, who you think is going to be an important character, but again, never brung up again. Basically, the first episode could just be completely separate, and to be honest, I think it's just because they had this idea, but then they probably had bits of episode 2 planned, and then during the later stages of doing episode 2, they suddenly changed what they wanted the series to be about. But then they kind of just they made themselves known. I mean, look at the view count for episode 1 compared to all the other episodes. They made themselves known for being a SpongeBob animated series, but then it quickly faded into something else. However, this series apparently has a lot of followers on Twitter, of a lot of fan art, so people clearly do like it. But I don't think they like it because it's a SpongeBob's animated series. I think they like it because it's some kind of thing, and it is. It is, stylistically, in its story and its characters. This is not a SpongeBob story. And they just kind of shoved into it, but then just shoved out of it. And they're not plot relevant. I mean, even if they are in the last episode and they do something to help, to be honest, they haven't been plot relevant at all. If you took them out of the series, it would be no different. Nothing at all would change in the series at all. So actually saying, if you're expecting a SpongeBob animated series, a spin-off kind of thing, or fan series or whatever you want to call it, then this is not it. But if you want something, that is a decent enough anime series, I'm not saying it's great or amazing, that can be a bit weird, a bit odd at times, then yeah, I'd recommend it. I'd recommend you check it out, just to see, what's like. I mean, the episodes are pretty short anyway, so yeah. Anyway, that's it for this video, and let me know if you've seen this series, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.